Hey, this is Brian with Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana for episode number 7 of the Pop Report. Tonight we have, as always, Josh Adams, which is at Midwest Vintage Cards, and then we have a special guest that we hyped up last week. He's got huge shoes to fill, which he could fill. Justin at 610 Sports Cards. Justin, welcome to the show. I know you're familiar with Josh and I, but you are new to the show. There are no rules. Just don't cuss. Don't call me names. You can call Josh names. Do not call me names. But we brought Justin on to talk at great length along with Josh, since they have a combined probably 40 years almost experience of going to the National to talk about the National. So today's episode is about all things National start to finish. We haven't decided. We may break it into 2 episodes, but we're just going to start talking and see what happens. Justin, welcome to the show. Tell everybody.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. This is my favorite thing in the world to talk about. I can work blue. I can work clean. So I'll do my best to work clean. But on some of these topics, it usually turns a little bit blue. But we won't get too blue. We won't get Don Rickles blue or anything like that. But the combined 40 years of experience, I mean, I don't know how old you think Josh and I are, but man, have you? Well, I mean, I won't jump the gun, but I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah. How many years?
I'm only a priority 4. So this will be my first one was Baltimore 2012, and I have only attended the National in a dealer capacity. Like I've never gone as just an attendee, okay, like you'll be doing for the first time. So I have set up. I think this will be my 11th time setting up. So yeah, 2012 in Baltimore was the first one, and then just done the Atlantic City, Chicago, Cleveland rotation since then.
I overshot it. It's 30 because Josh is, I think, 18 or 19
Okay,
years.
good.
2005 was my first one set up as a dealer.
Okay, so we're right at 30. Yeah, we're right at 30. So I overshot it a little bit. 30 should be enough to let you guys speak relatively intelligently on this topic, though. I would think that's a sufficient amount of time that y'all are going to be helpful for all the people that are watching. And I just hit 1,000 subscribers last week, so. There are actually going to be people listening to the show. There'll be less after tonight, but that's okay. You know, at least we got to 1,000. Let's just make sure we don't backtrack under 1,000. So we'll do our best. But
it's like getting those different Instagram milestones where you get to you're close to 1,000 or 10,000, and then you just backslide and you're like, why can't I get over the hump?
You must have posted a card that people didn't like. Did you post a bowl or something like that? And then your
we're just transitioning out of MJ to the more stable waters of guys like Bobo and Bol. See, I can't even say it and joke about it. I so don't care.
Yeah, nobody's gonna remember his name in a few years anyway.
Exactly.
All right, Justin, you're the guest. We know about me. We know about Josh. Tell us about yourself. Give us the 3 minutes Justin hobby story in a nutshell.
Yeah, so it's a pretty similar story, I'm sure, to what y'all have and a lot of your subscribers have as well. I mean, I started opening packs way back as a kid. I was born during the peak of the junk wax era, so I missed out on the. I'm not quite old enough to have been opening 86, 87 Fleer, but I'm not quite young enough to have been opening, Skybox and all the good 90s insert products. So I was right there during the peak of the junk wax era. Took a break, an extended break during high school. A buddy of mine in college got me back into it. So we started going. I went to UNC Chapel Hill. So we would go. There's a local show over at the Raleigh Fairgrounds that we would go to. And he got me back into it. Just a good way to buy cards and flip them for beer and dinner money and all that good stuff. This was before eBay was really a thing. So you could go and cards would be priced at Beckett value at a show and then come back and sell them for 5 to 6x on eBay in a matter of minutes. So those were certainly the glory days, but then took kind of another break after that. And then got back into it right around 2010 and have been pretty consistent since then. The past, I guess that's 10 plus years. So.
Interesting story. Good. I liked everything about it except the UNC part. But I'm sorry. So no, I'm a UK fan. I'm a Kentucky fan. So I mean.
Yeah, that's tough.
Sorry.
Yeah. What kind of fan are you? You're a Bulls fan, so I don't want to hear anything out of you.
Northwestern
doesn't count. Yeah. You're a modern Bulls fan, which is worse. All right. So Justin, we'll touch on it real quick. Your 6'10" sports cards because you're 6'10", which leads me to believe you played a little bit of basketball. I know you did.
I played a little bit of ball back in the day. Yeah. Contrary to what is an alarming number of popular beliefs, like I'm not from Philadelphia. Like the 610 is not a Philly area code. So
yeah.
For all those watching, like please don't DM me and ask me if I'll sell my handle. Like I'm not from Philly. It's because I'm actually that tall. So it's one of the few things that's not for sale. But yeah, I did play growing up. I mean, I've always been the tallest kid in class. Played all through high school, hit the AAU circuit like I know you did, Brian. And then I had some offers to play at smaller D1 schools, but ended up going to UNC Chapel Hill and played a year there my freshman year. And then went back out my sophomore year and second practice going through layup lines. Was like, I think I kind of like this college thing more than I do playing basketball at a collegiate level. So we cut it short there, but it was a blast. I mean, all the stories and glory day moments are certainly fun to reminisce on. But yeah, I wouldn't take back a second of having to make the decision. And these were the Matt Doherty years. So we started 19-0 my freshman year, beat Duke at Duke. But then I think it was a Sunday afternoon at Clemson. We lost to Clemson down in South Carolina, and then we finished the season 5-5, and then we went, I think, 18-10 my sophomore year, and then junior year was just the nadir when we went 8-20. And
it's because you left. It's because you were done.
That's very nice. That's very nice of you. Yeah, my big.
They were missing the Marcin Gortat 2.0, the pick and pop, the Polish hammer. They were missing the Polish hammer. So that's why.
Yeah, they were missing the gangly white guy on the deep on the bench who was just the Swiss Army knife. I'm sure that's what would have put us over the hump. So, but it was a lot of fun. It's always great to get back and like I said, just talk about getting dunked on or dunking on people and. Yeah. Glory days. It was a few years ago, but it was fun.
Cool. All right. We're close to the National. We're here to talk about the National. We met Justin. We know me and Josh. Y'all know a lot. I know almost nothing other than the location. I still don't really understand my travel itinerary, but I promise you I'll figure it out. We'll get there. But it's in Atlantic City. So let's start there. Pros and cons of Atlantic City. Yeah, let me state some, and then you tell me true or false. Difficult to get to by plane if you don't live nearby and can't drive.
That could not be more true unless you really hate yourself and you want to try and fly Spirit Airlines. So Spirit Airlines is the only. Oh, Brian. Oh my God.
No choice. It's the only nonstop.
I know we're doing this, but yeah. So Spirit Airlines, Atlantic City has an airport, but Spirit Airlines somehow has a monopoly on the entire airport. And they're the only airline that has both arrivals and departures. So if you want to get into AC direct, you got to fly Spirit. But for any other normal, sane person, you hop into Philly, and then you can either split a car service, an Uber, or a Lyft with somebody, or there's a train like a Jersey Shore train or something like that. That's like $9 or $10 one way that you can catch from the 30th Street station in Philly out to Atlantic City, and that dumps you off right at the convention center.
That's what Josh told me. Josh's great idea was for me to fly into Philadelphia and then jump on the train. He said it drops you literally at the show. Are you telling me I'm going to get off that train? I'm going to have my backpack, right? And I'll probably have one carry-on. I guess I need to put all that crap in the hotel, so I'm probably not going to be able to go straight to the show unless I want to lug around 2 bags. But I'm at the show. Like I'm within, 100 yards, 500 yards of the tables?
500 yards max. Yeah, the train station is connected to the convention center, and that's we'll do another pro real quick too. So the Atlantic City Convention Center is actually very, very nice. It might be the biggest venue, and Josh, feel free to correct me on this one, but it is so much bigger than Chicago. There's so much more room to spread out. All of the booths are 10 by 15 booths. So in prior years, you've had the option as a dealer to buy a 10 by 10 or a 10 by 15 booth, but your only option for AC is 10 by 15. So that means there's that much more room for dealers to spread out. The aisles are wider than Chicago. There's a lot more dead space, so to speak, on the convention center floor. So I think it's a much more comfortable experience than, especially if you've only been to Rosemont in Chicago.
Are there more tables in Atlantic City, or are you saying there's just more room for the patrons to move around and to do deals and seating and all that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think that the number of tables is still relatively the same as last year, and last year was a record number anyway because they were putting tables in every nook and cranny of Donald Stevens Convention Center as they could. But I still think that they kept the number of tables around the same, probably more since there is more room. But again, there's just a lot more room on the exhibition floor than there was in Chicago, so it's a lot more comfortable to be able to spread out.
Gotcha. Okay. Is it one big room? Like the way it's laid out, it's one big room. Because I've heard in other nationals, it's like a room, and then there's like a supplemental, like an auxiliary space. Is that how Chicago was?
Yeah.
Like an auxiliary area.
Yeah, that was the only way that Chicago could expand. So Chicago started with, I think the space that they've had it in is their biggest exhibition floor space that they have in the convention center.
Yeah.
But as the show grew, like they had to start expanding into like these little different nooks and crannies. So you would walk into Chicago, and then the showroom floor would be in front of you, and you'd make a right to basically get to the bulk of the show. Well, then if you made another right, like that's usually where like the case break pavilion was, like the PSA booth. But then they further expanded that back to add more tables. So there were additional little turns that you would have to make to find booths, but Atlantic City is just one giant floor. So it's all right there. Yeah.
To take that in, just to drink it in that first time that I walk through that door and check it out. Josh, how far is the Chicago National from your house?
20-minute car ride. It's pretty easy. Boom. Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
It's great.
I am so jealous. What city do you live in, Justin?
So I'm in Blacksburg, Virginia right now. So for me, it'll be, I've got some friends who live in Arlington just outside of DC. So I'll drive up to them and then just take an Amtrak from DC to Philadelphia and then pop over on the train.
That's also pretty convenient.
Yeah, it's really easy.
I will be driving 90 minutes to New Orleans for a 6:07 a.m. flight on Spirit, where I will wish I wasn't 6'4" because I'm not going to fit and I'm going to feel miserable by the time I get up there. Hopefully there's room to stretch out on a train. I've never been on a train. I mean, this is literally like Cajun Goes to Hollywood. This is going to be nuts, dude. I know I sound like
we're never going to find you. You're going to get lost. We're never going to see you.
You're going to find me. I'm going to have one of those little leashes. You know those parents that put leashes on their kids?
It's a good idea.
You're going to put a leash on me, and I'll just, wherever you go, I'll just go.
Well, you need to, it's like if you have an underage minor who's flying and they have like the flight personnel. Yeah, the flight personnel escort them and like point their body where they need to go. That needs to be you.
And I'll have a little special passenger pin that they put on me, so they'll know I'm from Louisiana, so I might not know how to get off a plane or something like that. But if Josh puts a leash on me, I will probably be looking at like 48 Bowman and Leaf and all that stuff the whole time.
There you go. So, can't go wrong.
I might cut the national short and just come back, Thursday morning. But just practically speaking, I guess. So if we've got extra bags, we get off this train. Are you taking? You said you're going from DC down, but your trains, you're gonna have bags and stuff.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get off the train. We're gonna have extra bags. Are y'all gonna go to the hotel and then come back?
So it's a good segue because one of the cons of Atlantic City is kind of the layout of the hotels around the convention center. So there is a convention center Sheraton that's right next door that is spitting distance from the convention center floor. That bad boy fills up about an hour into its availability. Like on day one of like the 365-day window that you can book, it's filled up by day 7. I managed to hop on and get a room. So I got lucky only because I learned the hard way before, like back in 2016 or whatever it was in Atlantic City. I was sweating it because I think I got rooms for like Tuesday, Wednesday night, but then the rest of the weekend I was screwed. So it was constantly refreshing. Hope I got lucky. So that one's right there. But then all of the other options are not. They require like probably a minimum half-mile walk. So there's a Courtyard Marriott, some other random hotels, but then obviously all the big ones are the casinos. So you got I think it's the Tropicana, the Caesars, Bally's. There's a Hard Rock Casino, and those are all. I would say those are all under a mile or less of a walk. And then a little bit farther away is the Borgata, which is definitely the nicest of the bunch.
That's what Josh was saying. He said Borgata's just badass.
I stayed there last time, but it's so far away. You need to take a little shuttle to get to the convention center.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that one, and then there's a Harrah's, and I think a fairly new Harrah's, and then I think there's one more down that way too. But yeah, that's definitely one of the downfalls of Atlantic City is that the beauty of Chicago is that you can go to Chicago, you put your stuff in your room, and you can pretty much walk to every single place you need to get to, bars, restaurants, the show, your hotel. Everything is just so easy, and so it's all right there. But unfortunately, Atlantic City is just not kind of built that way. So if you're not right next door, just know that you're going to have a bit of a walk. Sure. I've made that walk multiple times just to go to casinos or restaurants or whatever in Atlantic City. I mean, I'll qualify this by saying that since I am almost 7 feet tall, like I don't get too worried about feeling unsafe or anything like that. But I wouldn't say it's unsafe to walk. I wouldn't say that by any stretch, but it's not like walking through your neighborhood. Like you're walking through Atlantic City, and this isn't Atlantic City from like 1990 or anything like that. Right. City's also depends better days.
What's in your backpack matters.
Also true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for sure.
Tall, some of the stuff that y'all have in your collection, I wouldn't walk on the Atlantic City streets with that in my backpack.
Yeah, and one of the themes that we'll definitely all touch on later in several different forms is like just do whatever makes you comfortable. Like if you've got a lot of stuff or not a lot of stuff, but it's high dollar, it might seem silly, but just grab an Uber or a taxi or a Lyft or something that half mile and $5-6, and your Uber driver will probably be like, "What? Why the hell am I taking you 5 or half a mile?" But again, just do whatever you got to do to feel comfortable, and it'll be just fine. So yeah, again, I don't want people to think that they're walking into like Outer Harbor, Baltimore, or anything like that. But it's not Rosemont. Chicago. It's not Rosemont, Illinois. Yeah.
Or would it surprise you
northern
guys?
Chicago?
Would it surprise you guys to find out that I have also never used Uber or Lyft?
No.
That would not surprise you. Okay, I can no longer surprise anybody with my
those aren't the name of some donkeys
accomplishments on this earth.
Those aren't the name of your donkeys that you got on the farm down there?
It's not donkeys, dude. We don't ride donkeys. We ride alligators and airboats. You got it all wrong.
I do.
I thought I could get to Atlantic City by water, but apparently I can't. So I'm gonna have to fly in an airplane. So we'll see how it goes. All right. So it's been rotating: Atlantic City, Chicago, Cleveland.
Yep.
If you had to rank them in order of your preference, just one word answer, your preference. I'm not going to ask you. I know your preference would be Chicago, right? You could, lunge there from your house. What about you, Justin? If you had to rank them in order, the ones that you prefer.
So honestly, I think in terms of a venue, just like an overall non-show experience, I'd go Cleveland, because downtown Cleveland has some different spots that have been really nicely built up. And the great thing about Cleveland is that the IX Center, if you stay in downtown Cleveland and drive out there in the morning, you're going against traffic. And then when you leave the show to come back into downtown Cleveland, you're driving against traffic again. So it's only a 10-minute drive max. And again, to be able to stay in downtown Cleveland, again, I'm a Marriott simp, so I stay at A-lofts and Marriotts and Courtyards and all that stuff. But like, there's a really nice A-loft down there that's a 10-minute walk from just like a whole bunch of bars and great restaurants. And there's a casino in downtown Cleveland too, although I don't think anybody has ever won there in the history of that casino. And you also have to pay for drinks, which is insane. But
at a casino. Okay.
At a casino. Oh yeah. That one hits like a ton of bricks when they ask you to pay for your Bud Light.
Fantastic.
The first time you order. But no, I just really like Cleveland. The IX Center is a great venue. Unfortunately, they went under for a while, 2 or 3 years, but somebody recently bought the convention center again in Cleveland. Like, it's under new ownership now. So we actually have the chance to vote on Cleveland as a potential venue for 23, 24, 25. Is that what it is? Or I don't know, some rolling 3-year period. So I love Cleveland. People just automatically dump on Cleveland for obvious and sometimes good reason. But I really enjoy the show there. It's just different from Chicago. I would say Chicago is definitely the best show experience, just in terms of the number of the people that come in, and you can't beat Rosemont in terms of just the sheer convenience of everything. Like it's half a mile from the world's busiest airport.
I'm staying with Josh Adams if it goes back to Chicago. He doesn't know that yet.
We got a pond out back. It's good for you. It's fine. We're set.
So I can clean up, wash off, and get ready for dinner.
That's right.
Would it surprise you, Justin, if I told you I've never stayed at a Marriott? I'm just kidding.
Nothing you can say about traveling outside the great state of Louisiana would shock me at this point.
I'm just kidding. But I will say this. I've never been to Atlantic City. I've never been to Chicago, and I've never been to Cleveland.
I can understand Atlantic City. I've only been to Atlantic City twice, once for a national and once for the world's worst bachelor party that will never be discussed in public ever. And that was real dark, but we don't need to that's after hours. We don't need
that's
to
for episode 69 of the Pop Report.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, that one was something. But yeah, I get the AC part, but the Chicago part, that's tough.
Yeah. Inexcusable. I know. I get it. What about new locations? Is there any talk? I know you said there's a vote out. I think it came across my desk, my Cajun Cypress desk. Is there any way to get a fourth city in the mix in the rotation? Is that something that's been bantered about? Josh, have you heard anything about that? Somebody was mentioning Vegas because the Mint did really well, but
I think a lot of the committee or the board, they look for places where they get either free or really discounted show space if they can get a guarantee of certain number of hotel rooms booked. So I think that plays a big part of it. I think that's why Chicago and Cleveland are always like rotating.
Money talks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, there's still very much an old guard of dealers who have a much louder voice because just without getting too deep in the weeds, there's kind of a priority system. So every time that you set up a booth at the National under your name, you get like a priority point. So while I've been to the National 10 or 11 times, whatever it is, I've only set up under my name. I think this is my 4th time. So I'm a priority 4. But some of them old boys that just bring the same vintage they've been bringing since the 80s. They're priority 40s and 50s and stuff like that. So until we start to, I don't want to say until some of those guys start to die off, but until we start to cycle through.
I can edit that if you need me to.
No. Oh no. It stays in. It's nothing is off the record. I didn't say it to start. But until we can cycle through and just younger guys start to get a bit more priority, I don't think we'll get any real traction because the biggest issue is that a lot of these guys, and you'll see it when you go to the show, but these guys just have cases and cases and boxes of stuff. Like I've always been a guy, if I get more than two-row boxes of inventory, if I can't carry everything I have in my Nike duffel bag that's somewhere, like I start to get the shakes. So
yeah,
I keep very low inventory, but these other guys, they'll have U-Hauls and vans and truckloads of stuff. So if they got to drive that mess out to Vegas, let alone Vegas in the summer, like that's a tough sell for them. So my dream location would be either, again, Vegas. I feel like you got to do Vegas once, and it very likely could be a complete disaster, but you at least have to try it. But then I'd also like to do a West Coast National. So back in, Josh, what was it, 08 or 09?
I thought it was 04.
Okay, yeah, somewhere in the mid 2000s, late 2000s or something. The National was in Anaheim.
Yeah.
And just selfishly as a basketball guy, I would love to do a West Coast National just to see what that would look like as well.
Yeah.
But we're a very long way removed from that, unfortunately.
Yeah, there was the last one I was out of West.
If you like low inventory, you do not want to take a virtual tour of my office. It would cause you a great deal of anxiety. It's causing me a great deal of anxiety. I've got buku baby slabs that I need to move and move quick. I can't stand it. It's taking up too much space in here. It looks like an eBay shipping center in here. It's ridiculous. So.
Well, at least with what you just shipped off to PWCC today, you'll have a little bit more incentive to start weeding that stuff out.
Yeah, I have 5 less in my inventory. All right, let's talk about. Tell us about dealer / ticket package breakdown. First, since most of the people that are going to be watching the show are not dealers, if they're dealers, they probably already turned it off, right? Because they know everything. But if they're like me, or maybe they've only been to a couple, or maybe they haven't yet been to Atlantic City and they're going, they want to know what the various ticket package options are and how to buy them and what they should or shouldn't buy and what is a reasonable amount of time to stay at the National. Talk about that, ticket packages, and how much time do you need? How much time is not enough time, and how much time may be overkill, if any?
Yeah. Okay. So just starting with the ticket packages. So the first thing I would say is, if you can avoid it at all costs, do not buy a ticket the day of. Like get your ticket in advance. I don't care what level of ticket you're buying. Just try not to do it when you get to the show, because again, one of the things that we'll harp on and we'll talk about a little bit more in detail is just the importance of time management. We're all on a limited schedule, regardless of if that's you got a day at the show, you got the whole week at the show, whatever it might be. I mean, when you're at the National, it's like being at a casino. Like, time just stands still. You look at your watch and you're like, oh, it's 9:30, we're going in. And then you'll be getting the call over the loudspeaker that the show floor closes in 15 minutes. And you'll be like, where the hell did the day go? So just regardless of whatever your schedule looks like, just try and understand the importance of being able to manage your time and the importance of doing that. And one of the ways that you can save yourself time is doing things in advance, and buying the tickets is the lowest of the low hanging fruit to be able to save a little bit of time.
Sure.
In terms of the tickets themselves, so if you go up there, if you go up to the tickets tab, I think it's the top left one right there. That actually would be help. Yeah, there you go. Look at. And you might be from Louisiana, but at least you got.
We don't need you. You know what? I don't need you. I'm gonna stop you real quick. Let Josh and I talk about tickets.
You got good internet, and you know how to use a www. Good for you. So this is on the national webpage. So the national webpage is nsccshow.com. It used to be a complete pile of crap, but they redid it 2-3 years ago, and it's actually a lot better. So I always have to throw that in, because kudos to them. It used to be the dirt worst. But you'll see that I think there's 5 different ticket options right now. So you got your GA, your VIP, your super VIP, and then your 5-day early entry. So there's 4 options. The difference between the VIPs versus the general and the 5-day is really just autograph tickets, and I think the super VIP, which is sold out anyway, but that gets you a parking pass too. But the main thing to focus on, that's the difference between general admission versus anything else, is both the VIP package and the new 5-day early, what they call it?
5-day early entry pass.
There you go. Yeah, the 5-day early entry. Those allow you to get on the showroom floor 30 minutes ahead of everybody else. And I cannot overstate the importance of being able to get that 30-minute head start every single day. If you're there the entire week, that is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Look at that, my accountant brain. That's 5 days of early admission, 30 minutes apiece. That's 2.5 hours of additional time that you have at the show. Like, that really adds up. And as you will see, whether it's getting into the show or waiting on grading or promotions or stuff like that, there's gonna be a lot of lines. And you can best manage your time by avoiding those lines or waiting in the smallest lines possible. And that extra 30-minute head start with either the 5-day early entry or the VIP pass will allow you to wait in a much shorter line to get in. And then you won't have to wait, because you'll see it walking in. If you look at the general admission line will be lined up to get in at 10 by starting like 8:30 in the morning. Yeah. So just
what is this? What is this? Can you read what I've got highlighted? Let me see if I can make that bigger. There you go.
Oh yeah. So
what's the VIP party? That's on Wednesday. The VIP party on Wednesday starting at 2:30. First, what is that? Second, what is week-long use of the VIP lounge? Is that a strip club?
It's a don't ask, don't tell establishment. So okay. Josh, what is this? That was something I couldn't remember either. Is this like a 2:30 in the afternoon VIP party? I don't ever remember seeing that.
Well, let me tell you one thing. I'm not a genius, and I'm from Louisiana, but I know this: if anybody can go on here and get access for $149, it ain't that VIP.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be there. So it's not truly VIP.
Yeah, I don't think it's an open bar. It's not an open bar or anything like that.
That's right. It's not that important.
The VIP lounge they used to have in a Rosemont, at least, was like off to the side by where you pick your rooms, and it was just like a place to sit and like hang out, like rest your feet for a few minutes.
Yeah, I remember. So the lounge, yeah, exactly. The lounge was especially important in Chicago because there's nowhere to sit in Chicago.
You told me space was an issue. Yeah,
literally nowhere. So like that actually kind of meant something. I think that'll be less of a selling point, at least in Atlantic City. But again, if you are going to go to the show, I cannot emphasize enough the importance of getting there as early as possible, and the VIP ticket and then the 5-day early entry, those will allow you to do that. So go with those. I can't stress that enough. And I don't think
we this question.
Yeah, go ahead.
You guys, and again, I'm going to ask dumb questions because I've never been there. And I think these are probably questions that a lot of people that are watching that have never been, that might be going this year, would probably share. I hear about trade nights, and everybody's like, the trade night's better than the show, right? I hear that over and over. That's kind of the cliche phrase. So tell me this, as a dealer, right? You guys are going to go, you're either going to have somebody already set it up for you. I think Josh has a business partner who's going to set up the table for them and bring the inventory in there. Sorry, I got a lawnmower going outside.
We'd expect nothing. We'd expect nothing less. That's the soundtrack of your Cajun life, is a lawnmower.
Yeah, it's a push lawnmower. It's hilarious. It's one of those rotary things, not even gas powered. But if you've got all your stuff set up at the table, do you guys leave that stuff out on the table overnight?
So I have a body bag. It's like a nylon zipper bag that you can stack. I think I can get 7 showcases in there.
Okay.
I just lock it up, and I have a lock and key that I lock it up. I mean, the show, I take some cards back with me though, some of the bigger hitters, but for the most part, I leave most of the stuff in the showcases. I stack them up, and the showroom floor is usually secured and locked end of the night. So I've never once lost a card.
Knock on as much as we can, but of all the different types of things that we've heard of going wrong through the years in terms of theft or crime or whatever, and some sort of after hours break-in has never
That's never been one. Yeah.
I will, since I don't have nearly as much stuff, I'll just pack almost all of it up every single day. That's just kind of been my standard operating procedure. Like there was one night I actually left something that was expensive in a case overnight, and I didn't sleep. So I just have too much anxiety about that stuff. But I will say that especially starting last year, like the National took very public steps to let everybody know we're gonna have a lot more security at the show, both after hours and then plainclothes police officers walking the show, hired security. They were definitely tougher on badges, letting people in and out too. So it was really good to see that, and I have no reason to believe they wouldn't do the same.
I gotta believe at some point with a bag like Josh has, and I'm sure the floor room's covered with bags like that. At some point, maybe if there's a midget dealer or somebody like that, they may try to sneak into that bag and then have their business partner zip them up. Then they spring out of that bag at night, steal all of Justin's gold prisms because that's all he has. They go steal all, but he takes them with him. So maybe I don't know. Maybe that wouldn't work. I don't know. Now we've offended old people and little people.
I was about to say, I'm trying not to get canceled.
What's next, right? Bald people with beards, people from Louisiana. We've already got Louisiana covered.
Hey, now
go for it.
No, go on.
You're going to make a Louisiana joke. I interrupted your Louisiana joke. So my segue was, asking about y'all wrapping up and packing all your stuff up.
Yep.
If you guys, when the show dies, right, for that evening, like Wednesday evening, the show's over, boom, we're on our way to trade night A or trade night B. Do you guys take the stuff that's on your tables or just a certain select number of slabs or whatever and then roll over to the trade night? Or do you guys just go observe the trade night and just chill and drink? Or do you go to the casino? Like, I've always wondered about how dealers participate in trade night. Or are you so damn burned out from standing at that table all day, maybe you don't want to screw with it at all?
Justin, you can go. I'll defer to Justin.
Okay. Yeah. So my thing, there's a couple different things there because the first trade night is the big trade night on Thursday. And I think this will actually be, the first one. So it's, to give a little bit of history. So this started, and I think the first one was actually in Atlantic City in just like this tiny little conference room. So Card Collector 2, Ryan, and then Jimmy, Kentucky Basketball Cards. They partnered on an idea just to have like a fun little way for everybody to go one night after the show, It was definitely skewed towards more younger collectors, but just an option to go and meet people, and a much easier way to kind of facilitate relationship building in the hobby. And it was fantastic. Like it was a lot of fun. I definitely went to that one.
How many people? 100? 500?
I would say that the first one was maybe 100, and then last year they had it in a Grand Hyatt ballroom at Rosemont, and I think they had 12 to 1,300 people.
So it's off-site. It's going to be off-site somewhere. It's going to be at a restaurant, reserve room. It's going to be at one of the casino hotels, or whatever, the Borgata or Tropicana or whatever. It's going to be off-site. It's not going to be at the convention center. Okay.
So I don't think, Josh, correct me if I'm wrong on that. I don't think they've actually released the details of where it's going to be. I believe the last time that they did it, it was, oh crap, maybe I didn't go to that one. It all runs together now, but it just depends on. Yeah, exactly. You just go. So it starts, I think, at 6:30 because the showroom floor closes at 6, and I don't think that's something that we touched on, but just general show hours. So the way that the week works is Tuesday is reserved for early dealer setup, so dealers can come in, pay an extra $75 or whatever it is. And starting, I think, at 8 a.m. that morning, maybe 10 a.m. But they have basically the entire day to move in, set up displays, do whatever they got to do. A lot of buying and selling takes place on Tuesdays for early dealer setup. A lot.
Just intra-dealer, right? Just intra-dealer deals, inventory, filling gaps, doing, consolidating whatever needs to be done. Okay.
Yep, that's exactly right. So that is Tuesday, and that's just dealers.
Not
Wednesday,
open to public.
Correct. Yep. Wednesday, there is also an early dealer setup period in the morning, but Wednesday is when things start to get rolling. So as you pointed out, there's the unknown VIP party that starts at 2:30, but then the actual show kicks off with it's called a sneak peek, but it's basically the Wednesday hours. So starting at 3:30, VIPs and the 5-day early entry folks can get on the showroom floor. And the Wednesday evening is still usually, like, a lot of dealers haven't set up yet. They're still taking time to wander the floor and see what's out there and get a feel for things. Yeah. But the actual show starts Wednesday. It starts Wednesday at 3:30 for the fancy folks, and then 4 p.m. for everybody else. And that it runs until 8 p.m. on Wednesday night.
Okay.
The rest of the week, Thursday through Sunday, is 9:30 to the fancy folks, the VIPs and the early admittance, and then 10 a.m. for the GAs, and then it's until 6 p.m. the rest of the week. So
that's good. Well, we can sleep in a little bit. I don't know why I was thinking 8 a.m. and I was like, man, I'm gonna be dead ass tired from.
No, thankfully we don't have to do that. But trade night is always Thursday night, so it is Thursday night at 6:30.
So there's not. I thought there was like trade nights every night. No.
Oh man, don't steal my thunder. Hold on, we're
Slow
getting
down.
there.
It's coming.
You said trade night's always Thursday night. That would lead one to believe.
So you know how it's the national and not nationals plural. This is the trade night. I would reference Ohio State, but I'm trying to work clean, so we won't get into that. But the trade night is Thursday night. It'll start at 6:30 p.m. It usually runs about 4 hours. And you just show up, and Jimmy and Ryan organize guests. Like Jimmy's a big wig at Kentucky, so you'll have that in common. But
I gotta meet him, man. I definitely gotta meet him.
Jimmy's the patron saint of the hobby. I cannot speak highly enough of Jimmy. Yeah. But he gets Kentucky guys to come in and sign for free. And again, it's a much less intimidating forum for a lot of folks to meet and hang out with each other, talk about cards and all that stuff. And again, I have gone to all of them just for a different amount of time. And while I'm probably at least double the age of most people that's in there, it's still a really fun and I think a really important palate cleanser too, to see that the hobby is not just all the things we like to complain about. Yeah. And us. Exactly. Like it's strong. It's young, it's diverse. And there's just so much going on that's out of your kind of normal purview. So I always do try and make it a point to go say hi to Ryan and Jimmy. They're always running around like crazy, but just say hi, support them. And it's because it's a really important event, because the one of the other themes that I'm sure I'll talk about multiple times, and we all will, is just the importance of relationship building. Like you can't. The National is definitely about the cards, and the cards are important, but like the relationship building and meeting people that you talk to online, that's the stuff that's important and helps you really honestly find the cards down the road that you need, because somebody that you met is like, hey, I know you're a Jordan guy or Kentucky guy. Would you be interested in this? It's just stuff like that. And that's what's really important. So I would encourage everybody to get out of their comfort zone. And this is always a reminder for me too, because Brian, I'm like you, I'm old. I want to go back to the hotel room, watch some Netflix, get some room service, and go to sleep. But it's like, no, don't
I can do 9:30. I can do 10:30 even, but we start getting into 12:31. I'm going to be trading away cards that I really shouldn't. I'm going to make bad decisions. That's without any alcohol. That's without any alcohol.
This is
so. I've got two questions. The first one's a yes or no question for both of you guys. The yes or no, one word answer. You think there's more or less people in the hobby today than there was a year ago?
Oh, a year ago.
1 year ago, one calendar year.
Less.
More.
Okay. That's it. You only get one word answer. And then my next question is, and I should have asked this first, and you guys are going to know the answer to this question. Sorry, I get to throw out random questions.
All right, it's your show. I got you.
Yeah, I get to throw out random questions. How many tables? We didn't even ask that question. Do you guys know the number of tables? I know you said the tables could potentially be bigger if you buy a 10 by 15 or, but just generally speaking, the biggest show I have ever attended was 40 tables, and one of them was mine.
That's big.
Josh, I
was 2.5% of the show. I was probably 92.5% of the value of the cards at the show, but I was 2.5% of the tables. So
we
40
were.
tables is where I've been.
What were we at last year, Josh, in Chicago? 650, and this is booths,
right?
Not tables, booths. So it's 600, and I think it was 650 to 700.
What do you mean booths?
Like BOOTH.
Yeah, but what do you mean? Like
all right.
What's the difference between a table and a booth?
So a booth consists of two tables.
A booth could be many tables.
This is better than anything I could have ever dreamed of. So like
a booth could be many tables. A booth is something you sit on. What are you talking about?
Oh hell. Okay. All right. So this is the way that the National is set up. So there are different sequences of squares like this. These little pods. It'll be each one of these is a booth, and each booth is one table and then two tables. So if you multiply the number of booths times two, we're at about 1,300 tables for the National.
That's what I want to know. I don't care about booths. It's not Shoney's. This is not Denny's. I want to know how many tables are there. I want to know how many different dealers are going to be there. So it's going to be a bigger show than I'm used to in Baton Rouge.
It might.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Many are saying, the mainstream media is saying that there will be more tables.
We need to see the card ladder predicted value of how many booths are in Baton Rouge versus how many booths are in Atlantic City to really know. But the confidence meter would be pretty high that Atlantic City is going to be bigger.
Well, the wild thing is too that in the past year since the hobby's blown up, like you'll see just people on Instagram or Facebook posts of like guys that are just looking for a case, like a single display case of space, and they're like, "I'll give you $2,000 for one display case for the whole week." No, I'm serious. I'm dead serious.
Like squatters, like you just squat, you get your boot, and then you just rent it out or lease it out.
I think last year I heard somebody sold one display case of space at a random booth for $3,500. Hand over my heart, swear to God.
My God, I could buy so many Jaylen Brown Prism PSA 10s for that. Base Prism.
Base.
So it's on the inventory. I can throw the inventory, baby.
So trade. We got the trade night
on Thursday.
But then trade nights, lowercase, plural. There's informal stuff going on every night. So all you got to do is hop on Instagram and look through your stories, and there you'll see stories of people. Hey, we're at Caesars. Hey, we're at the lobby of the Sheraton, and it's just swarms of card collecting nerds, and they just descend on hotel lobbies. And before you know
high school. Remember high school parties? Like, did people use CB radios back when y'all were in high school to say, "Hey, like the next party's at this place," or did they know? No, we didn't have cell phones.
I was the early cell phone generation. I had a cell phone that had totally 90 daytime minutes a month. that was used for emergencies.
Okay. We used to have to use a radio on our horses that we were riding. So we'd have a radio strapped to the side on our saddle, and then they would tell us, well, hey man, the party's at Motel 6 over off Airline Highway. We meet over there. I did not go to very many hotel parties. That was not really my style. I was in training, of course, becoming the perfect athletic specimen. So I didn't do all that. But so let me ask you this question, Justin. I know you take the trip down and you go to the Dallas show all the time. Josh, have you been to the Dallas show yet?
No.
But Justin, you go, if the Dallas show is X, the Atlantic City show is 1.5X?
No. It'll be 4 to 5 times that.
Yeah.
So
really?
Dallas, I think, is 500 tables.
Okay.
So just again, what tables to tables.
How many booths?
Gators to Gators. I want to give you the finger, but I won't. My mom will probably watch this.
You gotta go, look down here. I'm giving you the finger right now.
Like I said, I gotta work clean. No, but the thing that it's not just the number of tables too that's that much bigger than Dallas. You're gonna have huge exhibition center or areas set up for Panini, for Upper Deck, for I'm sure Fanatics is just going to have a massive display set up there. You'll have setups for all the auction houses that are there too, for your Heritages, your Goldens, your REAs, all those different folks will have a show presence, and they won't be set up selling stuff. They'll be there, talking about a lot of the auction houses will have the different cards that they have on upcoming auctions, so you'll be able to
90sauctions.com.
the preview that many are saying 90sauctions.com is going to have roughly 1,700 square feet of floor space.
I wish, my man. Maybe 17. I think 17.
Bro, you got to get Ayo Dosunmu there with a 90sauction.com jersey on, hyping your auction house, man.
It writes itself. How can
It's lights out. It's lights out. It's all smooth sailing from there. Okay.
But it's just so much bigger. Yeah. Again, the scope of this, it's once a year versus Dallas is 6 times a year, I think. So this not only is this just like a show for dealers to buy and sell stuff, but it's also a trade show for corporate exhibitors. And all that good stuff.
It's almost like a convention mixed with a card show. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
It's almost like a mint mixed with Dallas, only twice as big or 3 times as big.
Much bigger. Yep.
What was I going to say? I've got no excuse for not going. I've never been to Dallas, and I've always got a conflict that weekend. It's 7 hours from me, so it's nothing from Baton Rouge. And I go to Dallas all the time for my kids' soccer trips. That's where Dallas is huge for soccer, North Texas. And so it's nothing, and we make trips over there all the time. It's a day trip. I mean, I can get over there in 7 hours, stay 2 nights, and come back, and I've never done it. It's always been a conflict. And so I kind of wanted to do that, for lack of a better word, to pop my cherry for a decent sized show and then go to the National. So I'm not so, dazed and confused when I get up there, but I just never been able to go over there as like a precursor to the National, like a baby National,
Well, and to that point as well. So that's a good point too. So I don't care if you've been as many times as Josh or I, or you're one of the old gray hairs who's been there 40 plus times, or you're a first timer. Like the very first time you walk on the show floor, you're going to be like, holy like this is nuts.
Crazy.
Like it's just always the most ridiculous thing. It's like I am in a hundreds of thousands of square foot convention center, and everything and everybody here is talking about cards.
Do you guys get? I know you guys are dealers. I'm just a walk-in, right? I'm a transient. Am I going to see every table?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you're there all week.
You're not going to see every table in a day, though.
No, I would agree with that.
No way.
Yeah. I'm Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, fly back Saturday, kind of midday. So Saturday is kind of a wash for me. So essentially, I've got 2 days and then whatever I can get in on Wednesday. So that's kind of the plan. Hopefully, I can get the experience and get to meet all you guys. There's so many of you guys that I've become friends with in the hobby. I can't wait to meet you guys.
Well, and one of the things too that the National has focused on the past couple of years is trying to do a better job of like grouping people that. Like dealers that sell cards, like don't put dealers that sell cards like in the middle of a bunch of like old guys that sell pennants. Try and put cards near cards, memorabilia near memorabilia, and it does make for a much easier way to traverse, a much more efficient way to traverse the show. So
Sure.
you definitely won't see everything, but a lot of stuff you don't need to see.
Right. You can skip some of it.
I wonder if they could put some thought into, almost compartmentalizing it, topographically, like, baseball, basketball, football, other sports, vintage, ultra modern, maybe if there's some way to do that, I don't know. That would probably, kill foot traffic in certain sectors, I would think. So maybe that's not a good idea. I would think 90s basketball would be a cluster F.
Yeah. Well, and the thing with that too is we actually pick our booth locations for next year's show the Friday of the current show. Yeah. So on the Friday of the AC National, Josh and I will pick our booths for.
What Josh was saying, that's crazy.
The man. Chicago National. Yeah. So it's still all based on priority. I know Megan and the rest of the crew over there is trying to make it a little bit better in terms of not just like hanging out random dealers to dry and putting them in the middle of a bunch of stuff that they're not selling. So they're not on an island, but it's again, ideally that'd be great, but yeah, it's tough.
Is there a lot of space? You mentioned Chicago is a little tighter, but Atlantic City, you said it's a little bit more spread out. Is there enough space where if I'm at a table and I'm talking to a dealer and we're working something out, somebody comes up, I don't get a deal done with that dealer for this gold Steph Curry 2012 Prism, but the guy walks up to me and says, "Hey, I'm interested in that. You like my stuff?" And I walk backwards. Is there like a place to go walk backwards to a bench or a table or like a neutral area where there'll be some space where me and my guy can hammer it out so we don't have to do it right on top of that? I shouldn't say that. That did not sound good. Me and this guy can work out a trade instead of doing it, working out the trade right on that dealer's table. Is there like a neutral area? There's plenty of space for that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And again, the AC was a while back. I don't know if there was necessarily a bunch of like extra seating, but there's definitely all sorts of just like space against the wall. If it's just like, hey man, you just want to plop down for Jesus, more phrasing. You just want to like go sit down in the corner
just
over here,
hang out
like gentlemen,
right?
And see if we can
like on the side
figure. Yeah, exactly. Figures in the VIP room. Just figure something out. There's a lot more opportunity in AC and a lot more space to do that. Yeah. And again, that kind of touches on a little bit of some stuff that we need to talk about with dealer etiquette. But you're exactly right though. There's definitely going to be plenty of room to be able to just catch up with other folks and if you try and make deals. And I mean, there'll be people doing that all over the place. So yeah.
And look, I think we can all three agree. This is definitely going to be more than a one-part episode. This is going to have to be at least 2 parts because there's too much stuff we haven't talked about. Yep. But the one thing I did want to add, so we're going to kill it probably about an hour and 10, something like that. So about 15, 20 more minutes. But one thing I wanted to ask you about, have you guys planned out anything thus far? Have you planned out trade nights? Have you planned out dinners? Have y'all planned stuff like that out? And if you have, why haven't you included me?
So one, because we don't like you, but also number two, I will surprise you to learn I've never been to a trade night. I usually, when I'm done with the show, I usually meet up with people for dinner who I haven't seen all year.
Yeah.
I'm okay passing on a trade night. I went once and it was kids a lot younger than me that had stuff that I didn't know what I was looking at. And
it was probably LSD.
It was the drugs. Definitely the drugs. And I just didn't know what it was. I was like, I don't know what this is. So zebra prism logos. I didn't want to.
But then all your base prisms look like zebra cookie crumble, a unicorn.
Exactly. You thought the colored prism was base and vice versa. You got hosed.
I've got 700 Jason Tatum zebra select prisms now that I've taken this tab of acid.
I have a standing dinner with a friend every year at the National on Friday night, and then I try to find people I haven't seen all year to have dinner Wednesday, Thursday, and all of a sudden it's Saturday night and you're done, and then Sunday and you go home. It goes by fast.
And that I'm the exact same. It's a standing dinner with a friend. I'm going to say the exact same thing too because I have my card Sherpa, my mentor, my buddy that I mentioned from college that got me back into this 20 plus years ago. Yeah. He lives overseas, but he always comes over to the National with. He comes in with his dad and his little brother. So we always go out to dinner on Thursday night. Awesome. I'll put a couple back, and then I do usually like to get over to trade night towards just before it's about to close. Just to walk around, make a laugh, and like I said, just try and say hi to Jimmy and Ryan, and if anything, you need to get over to trade night so you can be ridiculously humbled with how the firepower that these youngsters have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you'll just walk around and look down at a random table covered in slabs or cards, and it'll be somebody that looks like it's your son, and he's got 50-60K of cards in front of him, and you're like, man, I was making $6.90 an hour at my local Harris Teeter grocery store. There ain't no way I could afford this stuff.
Right. So, I was mowing yards to buy 86 Topps baseball, damn it, instead of 86 Fleer basketball.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, what was I doing? Y'all don't have this. I mean, I've got no excuse. Y'all got excuses. I got no excuse. I was buying 86 and 87 stupid baseball cards when I could have been buying 86 Fleer. I would not have people like you on my channel. I'd have much more important people on my channel if I had bought 86 Fleer. I can tell you that.
That's a tough look. That's a tough look. But yeah, no, we'll definitely. There's bar nights and all that stuff. Cool. Unfortunately, I haven't heard of anything like that. But Wednesday night there'll definitely be something.
Do y'all gamble? Do you guys gamble at all? Do you?
Yeah.
I don't touch it. But I could care less. I mean, I'll go.
Really? You don't gamble?
Well, I don't gamble.
You got to change that.
I've got Kenny Rogers beat when it comes to cards, but I don't gamble at casinos.
You're gonna be thumbing rides home instead of taking that Spirit. That Spirit Airlines flight's gonna look like a private jet compared to the way you're gonna have to get home after the casinos.
I'm staying in a hotel called the Claridge. Ever heard of it?
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you're good.
It's okay. I'll be all right.
Fine.
Cool.
Dude, that's my way of saying yikes.
You don't know. Yikes.
Yeah, yikes.
Well, now there's going to be a big crowd down in the lobby when I leave Thursday morning to go to the show to get autographs.
I bet. But yeah, there's stuff going on every night, and I think that's what's one of the few things that's cool about social media is that you'll see Instagram stories of people that like, hey, we're in the lobby of the Sheraton or like over at Caesars or just something like that. So if you want to do stuff at the National, but you think there's nothing to do, like shame on you because there's stuff going on every hour of every day.
I'm worried about I think we're gonna have to. I mean, I feel like I'm gonna have to pick and choose. There's so many of you guys that I've become friends with, through group chats and Instagram, Facebook, and just generally speaking that. I feel like I'm going to have to pick and choose, and it's going to suck. I'm not going to get to see all the guys that I want to meet in person,
I think you will. I mean, you definitely will, but I think the counter to that is, when you're just roaming around the show floor, like another good way to hang out with people is just take a lap with them because
for sure.
At some point, like you'll just get sick of like looking at cards. Everything will look the same, and you'll just start to kind of just get pissed off and bored. As weird as that sounds,
desensitized.
Exactly.
The word you're looking for.
Exactly.
I feel like you're right. I think I'm going to get to that point, and so I mean, I think I'm going to run through the Wednesday night and then Thursday morning, and I can just feel it coming on by Thursday, like shortly after lunch. I'll be ready to go find somebody and say, hey, what are you looking for? What are you doing? Maybe I've seen it, or just kind of talk to people and meet people and spend some time and just enjoy the last 36 hours,
and I think that might be a good way to, and of course you can cut this, but maybe just a good way to close out this hour is that just the importance of like expectation versus reality, especially for a first timer such as yourself, because I'm the same way every single year. It's like expectations are like, oh, hell yeah, it's the National. Let's go. It's like it's going to be all the biggest and best stuff, and I'm going to find the stuff I've been looking for. I'm going to get I'm going to get steals and make trades and all this stuff. And you hit the showroom floor. You're super excited. You make that first lap. Like you're moving way too fast. You're not taking stuff in. You're basically just like scanning booths for real specific stuff, hoping you get lucky. Yeah. You make that first lap like an hour and a half later, and you're like, well, son of a bitch, I didn't find anything that I was looking for. It's like this is all the same. This stuff is boring. This stuff's lame.
Josh, I've got an idea for you. I think you should get one of those like signs and then like put it down the back of your T-shirt and maybe strap it around your waist, and it should say "Looking for Diamond Dimensions," and then have every card set number in there that you still need. That is the fastest way. Then they come to you. You don't have to walk around 1,500 tables.
There are guys that do stuff like that.
Dude, that's fantastic. Did somebody already steal my idea? I thought that was Cajun ingenuity. That's brilliant. If I was still collecting the PMG set, I'm about to cry thinking about it. I would just have a big hunting for red PMGs. Will pay less than Thompson.
I'll have you.
It definitely does happen. But yeah, you're just there's going to be points. It'll happen multiple times during the show too, where you just you just get bogged down and you're like, this isn't. I'm not having as much fun as I thought I'd be having. So that's the perfect time to, again, maybe reach out to guys that you didn't get a chance to catch up with at a bar night or something like that, and be like, hey, I'm over at Josh's booth. Do y'all want to go take a lap or just kick it together? And you just start talking and BSing and you realize that there's a little bit more to this, and then you kind of come back in and you re-engage with the show, and maybe guys have turned over inventory and they're
food on site. They have food on site at the convention center.
Yeah, I don't think it's very good though. I don't remember Atlantic City being especially bad. It's just most of the stuff's usually terrible.
I'm not a fan.
There's a good sub spot called White House Subs.
White House.
They make their own bread. It's really good.
White House is amazing. Yeah.
What real quick, we're about to wrap it up, but I wanted to ask you guys this question, because even though you've been to 30 almost, or right at 30 nationals between you guys, it's been a really long time since you've been to the national, where cards are probably not quite as hot as they were the national before. This will probably be the first one in many, many years where the hype for cards, the demand for cards, the value of not all, but a large quantity of cards is going to be less than the year before. I'm not talking about the old dudes selling, Newhausers or whatever your guys, George Keel or whatever his name is, vintage baseball. But I'm talking about cards that you guys transact with, the Jordans, the 90s stuff, the ultra modern, even the RPAs. It's going to be the first time those cards should be worth a little bit less. Are dealers going to be flexible, or do you think they're going to have 2021 prices on these cards and be stubborn?
Well, I will say, cost for these dealers who do this full time, it costs a lot to get out there.
Yeah,
the cost to set up is high. So
you said you're in a $3,500 hole, basically, right, Josh? With hotel, travel, table, food, all that, right?
Yeah.
$3,500 hole. Work your way out, and so from a dealer perspective, we got to get going. I'm using accounting numbers for you, Justin. Revenue.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we won't get into booths versus tables again. That was tough enough.
We can edit that out post production.
Not accounting.
No, we're not editing that out in post. That is staying in. My diagram is staying in. That's a great question. I mean, it's honest. It's something I've been thinking about like the past 3 or 4 months too, since I technically do this full time now. It's just ironically as the value of cash continues to decrease as inflation gets worse, it's like the value of cash in the hobby is getting more and more powerful. And I think that especially one of the challenges that I've had is just because something is 25 to 30% cheaper than it was a month, 2 months ago, doesn't mean that it's a buy. And I mean, I've definitely, like, I'll look through my spreadsheet and be like, God damn it, I probably shouldn't have bought that. So I think I think the bargaining power of cash should be much more powerful this year than it has been is in years past, especially with crypto getting absolutely destroyed. Because I think Bitcoin was 50K plus last summer, 55, somewhere around there. I don't remember exactly, but with it's under 22 now. With Bitcoin getting crushed, with just the stocks taking a dive, like people are going to want cash. So I think that's good for buyers, but at the same time, Bitcoin was only around 33 last year. Sorry about that. Well, still, it was 50% over what it was.
21.9 and Ethereum is 1,196.
Yeah, and so Bitcoin around the national last summer was like 35. So it's still down 50%. So like some people have lost 50% of their purchasing power, which makes inflation look like peanuts.
Or net worth, depending on how aggressive they were.
Like you said it, not me. But it's going to be really important because I do think that there will be dealers more willing to work this year than maybe previous years because they also understand the importance of that cash. But on the flip side for attendees and for dealers as well, but when you want to buy stuff, you just need to maybe be a little bit more disciplined this year than in years past, and say that, hey, just because this is cheaper at a booth than it was 2 months ago or a month ago, like do I need to buy this?
Yeah.
It's like, do I want to buy this versus do I need to buy this?
I've got a vibe, and maybe it's just a gut instinct that trading is going to be at the forefront because people are going to want to they're not going to want to sell, because sometimes it's hard for human beings to say, I got my ass whipped. My LeBron, I just lost $6,000 on a LeBron Chrome PSA 10. That people don't like to admit that. And when they get the money in exchange for that, they're going to not feel real good. But there's almost like a hidden win if you can move out of LeBron and move into fill in the blank, shiny new Tatum, Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball, whatever, for that value. You may not feel as dirty, and you may not feel as much of a failure. And I'm raising my hand because I've taken a loss on a lot of.
I'm right there. I'm doing it. Yeah. I'm doing it as we speak right now. I get it.
But I'm buying. Yeah. I'm not buying the same LeBron cards I was buying a year ago. We're about to talk cards. Let's talk cards for 5 minutes. I'm not buying the same LeBron cards that I was buying a year ago, but I'd be happy to look at some nice short print LeBron cards that are a little off the radar. Yep. Absolutely. I think he's got too many great things on the immediate horizon that are inevitable. His son is going to find his way onto an NBA roster. LeBron is going to force his way onto whatever that roster is because the way he structures his contract. He's going to pass Kareem, barring some preposterous, circumstance that intervenes. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And then you've always got the dangling carrot that it's possible that he may bounce and go find a super team and win another one. That's 5 really big things. That's 5. 4 of them are inevitable. 5 of them, if he wins another ring, 5 great things. That's uptick.
Yeah, and I know we've talked about this on the side in the group chats before, but I feel that there has been we have now overcorrected on LeBron, and
I think the pendulum has swung too far back.
Yep, exactly. It's not necessarily. There was plenty of good reason that we need to come back down to earth, but the fact that the Lakers have been so god awful since basically January, like this isn't just the normal playoffs are over dip, or oh shucks, the season's over, so stuff's across the board softens up. Like this has been coming for a long time, and there's any number of different reasons why we think certain things have been hit worse than others, but yeah, I'm not quite there to start buying certain LeBron things, but other things, like you said, Brian, it's one of those things like, ooh, this is nice.
Do you guys think? Let me throw one card out there. We're going to end it on this. This is so off topic, but I'm curious to get y'all's thoughts. And I know neither one of you people would ever buy this card, but I wanted to get your thoughts. Is there a number? Is there a number where Josh Adams or Justin would consider buying a PSA 10 base prism Luka Doncic card in bulk? Could it get to a point where you think I know it's popped 21,000. That's just too low of a price point. Give me 4 of them, or give me 12 of them. Is there a number? Could you even envision if I said, Justin, give me $500 for 5 Luka Doncic PSA 10 prisms? Would you mess with that deal right now?
No,
you wouldn't. Would you?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't mess with base commodity stuff like that.
And I said you had to hold it for. Obviously, you do the deal right now and sell it tomorrow. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you couldn't sell it in maybe 2 years, would you take Luka Doncic Prism base PSA 10s for $100 right now? Josh, would you?
No.
So that tells me we're still not at the bottom. But if the 3 people on this screen wouldn't want to hold those 5 cards for 2 years and then flip them and think they could make a pretty good margin, then we're not at the bottom yet, and that's scary.
Well, we don't collect that stuff either. Like if we were gonna buy Luka, no. I'm just saying in the hypothetical.
If you're buying Luka, right? You're gonna buy a select base.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
We're buying those optic base.
The optic base or the Donruss. Yeah. Tell me, Josh, what you got?
Well, the reason I wouldn't buy that is kind of what Justin said. I don't collect that stuff, but also I kind of try to stay disciplined in what I buy and sell, and I don't really buy and sell active players. So I just stay away from that.
Let me hold on. Let me rephrase that. If you gave a similar if you gave a similar example, but instead of Luka base, you said a Luka Blue Prism rookie PSA 10 that had dropped a proportionate value to what you're saying right now with your Luka base rookie example, I'm damn close. I'm really close.
So the question, so what that means is your answer hinges squarely on, it's not the player, it's not the product because it's the same product, it's not the grade because it's the same grade. It hinges squarely on how much is too much when it comes to pop, period. And so here's what's funny. I think the pendulum has swung too far. I think that cards that are 146 pop are now perceived by the hobby as a high pop card. I don't think 146 is high pop. And I know we hang in weird circles where 20 is too many. But 146, fill in the blank, Jaylen Brown, let's say Jaylen Brown silver prisms, like that card's gone significantly down and then up and down. People think Brandon Ingram prism silver rookie cards. The pop's like low hundreds or something like that. I don't think that's a lot. I don't think that's a lot if Brandon Ingram becomes a first-team All-NBA guy, or if he's a franchise player, or if they make a run in the playoffs. I think that card explodes.
Yeah,
now,
I agree.
Everybody would think that's too many. That's way too many. 148. Oh my God, I don't want that. There's 148 of them. Yeah, but there's 30,000 million people that collect cards.
No, I know it. I agree. I just the problem with that one though is just with the proliferation of all the different auction sites and the way that these things sell now. It's like something that's a pop 500 that used to sell on average 2 to 3 times a year now probably sells 3 to 4 times that. So there's no longer kind of that air of exclusive. Like I think the LeBron Topps Chrome Black Refractor PSA or whatever, like
call
it a PSA 9 has been absolutely slaughtered the past 12 months. I mean, you can get one of those now for around. I think around 30K, low 30s, basically.
Yeah.
And just that's one of those cards that, again, serially numbered to 500. Everybody loves the black border. I think the aesthetic preference is for the black refractor instead of the X-fractor, which is numbered to 220, because there's a stronger differentiation. But the fact that one sells every 2 damn weeks on an auction site, it's just there's no longer a perception of it's what do we go with in the group chat? Scarcity versus rarity versus scarcity. Yeah. I mean, that's one that's just been beaten to hell.
There's no better example of that premise than the Jordan Fleer 57 PSA 10. Period. Yeah. If you see 2 a month or 3 a month, in which case it's been here and there, it's just never going to go up in value.
Now I know we're just rambling, but this does have something to do with Atlantic City. So Atlantic City in 2016 was the first, and Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, but like the first real hobby boom that I remember, because that was the first run of Jordan rookies going nuts. Yes. So this was 6 years ago.
It jumped to 26, didn't it?
Yeah. It got up to 25, 26K.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a couple dealers there that had 10 showcases filled with all Jordan rookies of all grades.
Yep.
And we were, I think late July, last week of July was when we were starting to come down on the backside of the mountain. So we had seen the full run up and things were starting to soften up just a little bit, but we hadn't started that just straight down slam yet. So it's ironic that that's where we are 6 years later, back in the exact same place where kind of this stuff had its first moment in the sun.
Hopefully history repeats itself and Fanatics bring some optimism to the hobby and some growth in demand and things turn around. All right, last question, and we're going to kill it. 3 minutes here. We got 3 minutes, but we each only get a minute. If you could walk away from the National, you have one card that you want to pick up at the National. You might not want to share this. And if you don't want to share the real card, just make one up. But I'll tell you, I'm going to share my real card.
All right, good, because I got to make something up.
National that you want to pick up, and you'll be like, mission accomplished. I got the one card that I was looking for, whether it's by trading cash or just dropping the cash on the table, whatever the case may be. There's one card you want to walk from Atlantic City with. What's that card, Josh? What you got?
48 leaf Bowman, a 48 leaf Feller, or a 96 Legacy Jordan. So 2. Sorry.
I'm glad you gave 2 because the first one may as well have been in Cantonese. I have no idea what that is. So
yeah, I can translate that now.
That's good. That's good.
I'm learning so much every week when Josh actually shows up to do this show. I learned so much from him about vintage baseball. So I know that 48 seems like an important year, and Jackie Robinson was a rookie that year. So is that because you're set collecting? Or is that just okay?
I need 3 more for the set. That's one of them.
Well, you got to be able to accomplish that in Atlantic City.
It's a tough card to find.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. And you don't just want any card. You want relatively high grade.
No, I will take any card. I'm not picky at all.
48 Bob Feller. I mean, there's probably going to be 30, 40 people that watch this show. Maybe one of them will have a Bob Feller and they can deal with you. Okay. Justin, what's your card?
Lord have mercy. I'm trying to think of something that's reasonable.
You don't have?
Reasonable. And I'm sure whenever I say whatever card that is, people are going to be like, God, this guy's so full of himself that he thinks this Jordan is reasonable.
No, it doesn't have to be reasonable at all. I'm just saying, if you're comfortable sharing what your card really is, share it. If not, give me card number 7.
I've made my bones about it for years. Like I love the history of Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron triple autos. Like on card triple autos. You want to talk about not a lot of them. Like that's something that we are working with a very small, finite population, And if I was able to work my way into one of those, I gave one up in the National last year. So if I was able to work my way into one of those in some way, I mean, that would be.
Does it have to be on card for you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I won't say no, but I would need.
You prefer?
I would need to be much lower in value than what I think the market is on a sticker, and that's
just
those numbers are big enough. It wouldn't be fair to the dealer for me to get that for what I would.
Yeah, and that's one way to kind of shrink your population is, you want a triple auto with LeBron, Kobe, and Jordan, but you also want it in a certain grade. You also may want it in one of the 2 slabs that I know you probably collect, and then you also may want it on card, and you also may want it numbered, not hand numbered, for God's sakes, right? Because that's a dirty word now. But
I'm about to slam my computer shut. Let's not bring this out.
I'm not bringing that up.
Let's not bring this argument into the public realm.
Protection. So look, my answer is easy. I've got to get a star 101 rookie for Jordan. I feel like there's a void in my collection. I know it's not the rarest card in the world, but I just don't feel right not having that card in my collection. I've just kind of recently educated myself a little bit more about that card, and that's one that I'd like to put in my collection. I'm not sure what the grade is that I'm chasing, because it's a really big jump for the grade that I want from the grade that I'll settle for. So I don't know if I want to go balls to the wall and really push the envelope and get the monster, or if I just want to put like a placeholder in place for maybe a couple of years down the road. I don't know. Also, I think that card went on a pretty crazy run up, and I hate buying cards after huge run ups like that. So I like to sell cards after run ups, not buy them. So I'm not sure, but I'm gonna have my eyes open for that. So
you're a big 90s insert guy too. I mean, you still probably got a lot of MJ high dollar 90s inserts that you're just still looking to fill that void, right?
Right.
Of course. Like if I walk in there and I see, on a Monster 90s, I'm certainly going to look at it. But the one card that I've got to check off my list, and I'm going to bring some stuff to trade, nothing that I care too much about. I'm going to bring some stuff that I want to trade, and I'm going to make sure I check off that star 101.
You did a good job of not getting yourself in trouble there. Good job.
Right, yeah. Smooth.
Way to deflect.
There'll be a time and a place where we can talk about everything, So anyway, guys, thanks for joining us. Let's kill it at about 116. And let's do it again. For those of you guys watching, stay tuned. Hit the bell icon for notifications. I'm going to have Justin and Josh on again next week. This is episode 7 of the Pop Report. Go follow Justin and Josh on Instagram. If you're not following me yet, do me a favor and give me a follow as well, and then hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed. But we're going to repeat this, and we've got tons more national stuff to talk about because we didn't even come close to getting to our outline. Justin's got all sorts of stuff that he's going to freelance about. Josh is going to have tons of stuff to talk about, and I'm just going to continue to ask dumb questions and make fun of people. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, tune in, and we're going to do it all again next week. But thanks, guys. Thanks all for joining, and I'll see you next week, and we'll schedule something. We'll give the people what they want.
Great stuff. Thanks, fellas. I appreciate it. It was a blast.
Guys, appreciate you guys tuning in for Pop Report episode 7. Hopefully, we're getting a little bit better and a little bit more organized. We're definitely not focused here, so you're going to get some rambling, but and it's probably better suited for a podcast than it is for a YouTube video. But just click play and then go do whatever it is you're going to do, get your workout in and whatnot, and just listen to us ramble. But thank you guys for watching. I truly do appreciate it. Keep collecting, stay positive in the hobby, and peace.